Hi, I'm Jon Decker, PGA instructor and author of the book, Golf is My Life, Glorifying God Through the Game. Today I want to work with you on pitching into the wind. And one of the things I want to talk about first of all is the advantage that you get when you hit your pitch shots into the wind. Number one is anytime I'm hitting into the wind, it doesn't matter whether I'm hitting a driver or a lob wedge, anytime I hit into the wind, I increase the spin on the ball, which allows me to get the ball higher in the air. So there's times when I want to hit the ball high in the air and have it come down softly. If I'm hitting into the wind, this is much easier to do. The other advantage to hitting into the wind with your wedges, is the fact that when your ball hits the green, it's going to stop. Now these are advantages as long as you are picking the proper club. And that's the mistake that most amateurs make, is they're dialed in, say for a 30-yard shot that they normally swing with their lob wedge, but if the wind is in their face, they don't take an extra club, and as a result they come up short because they hit the ball the normal trajectory, and then the wind itself will cause the ball to spin more, it goes higher in the air, they don't get any roll, the ball doesn't react on the green the way they want it to. Again, hitting into the wind requires that you change clubs, and that's why with my wedges, for example, I use my pitching wedge, I use my gap wedge, I use my sand wedge, and I use my lob wedge. So those are my 4 wedges. On a standard pitch shot, if I'm using a lob wedge and the wind is in my face, I have several adjustments I make. The first adjustment I make is I'm going to narrow my stance. So I'm going to narrow my stance, and this is going to allow me to set more of my weight into my left hip. This is also going to help de-loft the club. So this is my 60-degree wedge. If I lean my weight forward, it's going to de-loft the club. So by putting my feet close together and setting my weight into my left-hand side, that's going to produce a lower trajectory. Now I'm going to hit a couple of shots here. First of all, I'm going to hit one with a normal trajectory. And I'm just trying to pitch a pitch shot out to the driving range. I'm not trying to hit it real far. So here's my normal shot. And you can see, and based on the way I hit that shot, I hit that ball very high, and that ball flew about 30 to 35 yards, somewhere in that range. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to narrow my stance and set my weight more into my left-hand side. And by doing this, I'm going to hit a lower trajectory shot. Notice when I do this, I take a little bit more turf. Now, if I'm playing into the wind, because this is my lob wedge, and no matter what I do with my lob wedge, if I'm hitting the ball 30 to 35 yards, my ball is going to go higher in the air. But let's say I'm playing in a really high wind situation. Instead of trying to take my lob wedge and really hit it hard, why not take out a less lofty club, like your gap wedge or your sand wedge? You could use either one of these and hit your shot. So here I'm going to go with my sand wedge. Watch the difference in the trajectory of this shot. The ball is going the same distance, but it came off much lower. Now I know that if I were hitting those shots today, the wind's not really blowing that hard today, so if I hit those 2 shots today, the lob wedges would hit and stop, the sand wedge would hit and roll. And I can also use my gap wedge. Now this trajectory will come down even more. Again, feet closer together, lean into my left-hand side. That ball came out much lower. When that ball hits the green, it's going to release. Today, but if I'm playing and I've got a 25 or 30 mile an hour wind in my face, that ball is going to hit the green and stop. And sometimes that's what I need to do. The point I'm trying to make is when you're practicing, pick a pin, pick a target, make it 25, 30, 40 yards, whatever your target is. But practice using different clubs. Don't just stand there and say, oh, I'm into the wind, I better hit this harder. That's the biggest mistake you can make, because when you're hitting the ball into the wind and you make a bigger swing, you don't hit the ball farther, you just hit it higher. Learn to use different clubs, learn to use different wedges, and you'll be able to control your distance better when you're playing in the high winds, when you're hitting into the wind, and you're definitely going to improve your game.